Hello, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. Today is November 3rd, 2021. Guess what? It is almost the 1 year anniversary of the Facebook group Land Investing for Professional Millennials. I launched it last year in 2020 on my birthday. So tomorrow is my birthday, and guess what? I'm going to be turning 40 fucking years old. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I don't feel 40. I don't know if I look 40. Maybe I do. I don't know. And, I'm doing pretty well in life. Now, question. I know we're going to talk about marketing and stuff like that today. And that's, don't worry, that's coming. But have you ever felt an overwhelming sense of anxiety before? Like you may have felt okay a minute ago. And then next thing you know, you're like, holy shit, the world is, what the fuck's going on? The world's about to end. I just felt that. I don't know why. Perhaps I overwhelmed myself with trying to do too much in too little time. Perhaps there's something my body is telling me that I need to listen to. But it's a really weird feeling where like I wouldn't call it a panic attack because it wasn't that extreme, but I'm like shortness of breath a little bit. My thoughts are a little bit scrambled. Yeah, it was very strange. So if you've ever felt anything like that, hey, let you know you're not alone. Sometimes you feel like you're not good enough. Sometimes you feel like no matter what, you can't get ahead. And that's not true. So just now, I just realized that what I was thinking about, right before I got on, was just trying to like level up, realizing I was doing certain things half asleep. Meaning there are certain things I get in the habit of doing, and doing those things are great. But there are other things I get in the habit of not doing that I should be doing, that I've dismissed long ago. Like, hey, you know what? That's not important. I don't need to do that. And then you look back like, holy shit, that was important. I should have been doing that. I should have been actually putting in the work to do this. And if I would have done that, I would be at this spot now and not at this spot. I'll be this level up here as opposed to a level down here or whatever it is. It happens to all of us. It doesn't matter who you are, and it's normal. So I'm not here to give you advice or because, I'm going through it now, but just to let you know, the only thing I can say is as long as you're more intentional about your decisions and you're more conscious about what you're trying to do, so, perhaps you can kind of avoid some of that. But, hey, we all go through it. But anyways, let's jump into it. So today we're talking about marketing your property. Now, it wasn't long ago where I had a crash course for land investing on how to really get started. I hear a lot of people say, hey, this sounds good, but I want to get started. Or, hey, how do you look up property? Or how do you do research in the area? How does, and all these questions, like, you know what? How about I walk through it with you? How about I show you how it's done? And we did that. I went a whole week. It wasn't just a day. I tried to do a thing in a day, and I tried to cram a lot of information in a small amount of time. Didn't work out so well. It wasn't terrible, but it could have been better. This time I spread things out over a week. And I went as far as, hey, look, we're going to actually start contacting people right now, live. And we did it. And I did it along with you. And as you saw, I had some people saying, yeah, I want to sell. No, I don't want to sell. A lot of those people, they wanted retail prices. Obviously, we're not here to get retail prices. We're here to get a deal. I do have somebody that perhaps will sell to me for the deal I'm looking for. We're kind of working that out. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm not really worried about it. I have other areas that I have lined up, ready to go. I just got to jump in. Now, the question is this. Let's say you did actually buy a property. How do you get rid of it? How do you sell it? How do you advertise it? Well, this is what we're all going to talk about today. Because look, I'm in other Facebook groups, not just my own, obviously. There's a lot of things that I don't know. I know a lot. I've been doing this for a while, but there's a lot of things I don't know. And I'm looking at the questions other people are asking. I see some of the questions that people ask in my group. And I understand, man, selling isn't as easy as people make it sound. However, there are things that people don't do that makes it more difficult. The same way I started this live stream talking about, holy shit, I'm feeling overwhelmed and shortness of breath and all of that. And things that I already dismissed, oh, that's not that important. I don't need to focus on that. Well, guess what? It is. And as I said earlier, if you're more intentional and you're more conscious about what you do, then you get to avoid that. Now, sometimes, this is a disclaimer, we can easily make an excuse or lie to ourselves and say, hey, that's not important. I just want to focus on this over here. And in reality, we're saying that because we're afraid of actually doing that work. We're afraid of the struggle of learning something new. We're afraid of failing at something and you're like, holy shit, this is what I've been hoping for and it didn't work because I suck at it. Now what do I do? I'm gonna let you know that is part of this game. But the thing is, most of that fear that you feel is going to be self-inflicted, so to speak. It's going to be your own mind, your own brain getting away from you. And that happens, right? There's part of our brains that just starts to run away with stuff. And if you don't bring it under control, it can lead you down a path of fear, procrastination, mediocrity, and all of that, and a bunch of lies to justify all of those results. But if you're not afraid to be honest with yourself, you'll see that you do have a lot more control and that the period of sucking at this is a lot shorter than what you realize. So what I'm going to talk about now is things that you may be doing, but you may not be doing it to the proper extent. Meaning you may have did it a little bit, you dabbled in it a little bit, but you don't really do it. It's not part of your routine. Or maybe something you thought that wasn't important, but it is. Or you were hoping that it wasn't important, but you realize, oh shit, I got to roll up my sleeve and there's more work to do. All right. So before I get into that, as always, just let me know if you can hear me or see me okay. Shit, that would suck if you guys couldn't see me or hear me because I just spilled my guts for a good 5-10 minutes. And if I did it to the void, well, it's good for me, but that means no one else can benefit from it. But if you can see me okay, you can hear me okay, let me know. You know, I just want to make sure that we're all good to go. Looking at the comments, any comments, are we good to go? No, I think we're okay. Oh, wait, no, we got something. We got something. But in general, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. We're going to go back a little bit into our land research. And if you're on a crash course that I did during from the October 18th through 22nd, some of this is a little bit redundant, some of it not so much. Now, think about the land that you are investing in, that area, right? You started with the county, but you started with the state, then you got with the county, and then hopefully a town. And then if you're really serious, you found the pockets in that town, the neighborhoods, the subdivisions, the little areas where you're like, okay, this area supports my investment. There's activity here. There are things going on here. Yeah, I want to invest here versus this other part of town, which sucks. There's nothing but like, it's the land of wind and ghosts and nothing good. And I want to avoid that, right? So let's think about it. Let's think about this naturally. Let's think about this naturally. When you are in this area, who is going to buy from you? As in, once you acquire a property from this little area, who is the person that's going to buy from you? Think about this closely. Is it a family? Is it a person who wants to live off the grid? Is it someone who wants the land for recreational purposes? Is it another investor who wants it for some other reason? Is it for, you know, somebody who thinks they're going to, I guess, more of a retail investor where they think they're going, like the land is going to explode in value or the area is going to be up and coming and are just kind of holding and waiting? Think about the type of people who would buy this land from you. Now, our job isn't to discriminate, as in any piece of property that has potential, you should buy. If you have the funds or you have a funder or you have a buyer lined up and you can just do a wholesale type of deal, you just get it, right? The more you do, the better you're off, better off you're going to be. So first think about that. Now, once you're in there and you're understanding, okay, this is the type of buyer, you know, and you're doing your research, right? You start to see the ups and the downs with the property, what you can and you can't do with it. You know, you buy it. Great. So with that said, we do that a little bit of research to start to basically have it fit in with our brand. And in general, our brand is our track record of doing work. And in addition to that, it's also the type of messages you put out there, the type of the style of communication, the type of people you like to communicate with, and those people who resonate with what you're having to say and what you're offering. That is our brand. Now, your brand could be, hey, I only do recreational properties, or I only do, you know, infill lots, or I only do big acres. That's fine, but I'm not saying we be that specific. It's more, how do you communicate? How do you provide service with people, right? So again, it's not necessarily about the type of property, it's how you deliver it. Do you make it easy to buy or do you make it tough to buy? Do you cater to low income crowd, or do you cater to the high income crowd? Do you cater to people who are looking to buy a bunch of property with you, or do you want to like to sell to people who are just one off? There's no right or wrong, but understand that. So now you can start to think about, how do I want to message this, property I have for sale? Because I just bought one and I'm looking to sell it. Now, here's some questions I want you to ask yourself, and maybe you can ask, people you're doing business with, or potential people. Think about this. What do you want people to think when they see all the stuff you have available, all your property or your one property? And maybe you're also selling some other things that go along with that property. How do you want to relate to people? Think about, what should they feel when they're dealing with you, or how you communicate. For example, if you do primary email marketing, right? What type of emails are you sending out there? Are they just sales emails all the time? Do you provide stories? Do you provide testimonials? Do you make people laugh? Do you make people say, oh, like, what are the feelings that you want to generate, and you want to generate over and over again? Now, how do you want people to communicate with you, right? Do you want to be more formal? Do you want them to go through a process? Think about these things. What type of slang would you use, or topics or vernacular that you want to use with the people that you're going to sell to? Again, that will kind of help weed people out. So if I talk about a lot of basketball with my land property, that's going to cater to a certain type of prospect, maybe more like an athletic person, or somebody who, maybe there's more of a type A personality, if I use a lot of team analogies and going for the championship and all that. Versus if I'm talking about, hey, this land can, do a lot to feed a family, you can farm on it, you can, do this and that. It's a totally different type of buyer, right? It depends on what I want to do to dictate that relationship. Think about, as I said before, what type of property you want to sell, right? Again, I don't recommend being limited to, I only do big properties or small properties if it's going about for marketing. But, that could be your thing, because like you're more interested in the profit that a larger property can bring. And you know that a lot of small players and newbies, they don't play with the big dogs. They're not buying the 60-acre lots for like $50,000, $80,000. They're playing with the $10,000 lots, the $5,000 lots. So maybe that is what you want to do, and you have a buyer clientele that matches that. Think about that, right? And as I said before, what type of service do you want to give? You want white glove service? In the end, they don't do nothing. Once they pay you the monies for the property, you just handle the rest. All right. So let me go over those questions again, because you need to write these down. What do you want people to think of when they see your stuff? How do you want people to relate to you? What should they feel when dealing with you, right? In your communication. What words or slang or topics would you talk about and use? What type of property do you sell, and what type of service you want to give, right? Now, when you take time to answer those questions, I would give you time now, but we don't have the time. Only got a couple more minutes. Think about this. That will help you understand the type of person you want to reach. That should help put like a bit of a person in mind, right? An avatar, so to speak, on the type of person that you want to reach out to. Now, here's a way to go a little bit deeper now that you start to feel that avatar in there. Flesh out that type of person. Are they married? Do they have kids? Maybe their age range, their interests, their hobbies, different talking points, the big reasons why they're getting land, right? What are they going to use the land for? Sure, it may be zoned for a certain thing, but they may get it for a different reason. So I think about what they would really use it for ideally, and what is their budget. So for example, if I'm talking to somebody who is a family person, but doesn't bring a lot of money in, but they want to own something for themselves, well, perhaps their budget is limited by $8,000. And that's if they're paying it off monthly. Versus I'm thinking about selling to an investor, their budget is a lot higher and they're going to pay in cash. But I have to use different words and phrases and different communication styles for the two different prospects. So far, is this making sense? Let me know in the comments if this is making any sense. So the reason why I'm even talking about this, as you guys are letting me know, I'm adding to the curriculum that I have with the people who invest with me. I already thought my marketing stuff is pretty good, because I know a lot of people don't go into this when they, other people who teach land. So I was already pretty proud of my marketing stuff, but I'm even making it even better. Taking all the experience I have and I keep getting, and learning from traditional methods of land investors versus, things that I think are unique, or they're probably not that unique now that I think about it. There's nothing new under the sun, but maybe the way I package it together and how I think about it. All right. So with that said, let's think about this. Eventually, now you know what the type of person is, you know how they like to be spoken to, you know how you want to present yourself, you know all these things. Now it's time to start putting some ads together. Now, the beautiful thing is a lot of the ads you do would do a lot of the legwork for you. All right, but here are some prerequisites. Number one, besides an ad, you're going to need your own website or a web page. Why? Well, no matter what, every platform you're going to advertise on, there are going to be limitations to them. There's going to be their audience, and they're going to try to keep them on their platform, meaning they're going to be distracted. I guess the best way to put it. So if you're on Zillow, they're obviously not just looking at your property. But if you get them off of that platform and onto yours, now they're focusing on what you have to offer. And now you can really start the selling process. Or, just planting that seed in their mind. If they're on Facebook, God knows they're distracted. There's so many things going on. There's, other ads, there's political opinions, there's opinions about, there's opinions about everything, shit that people don't know, shit had no business talking about, they're talking about it. So of course they're distracted, right? We want to get them off Facebook, onto our platform so they can be focused on what we have to say. They're on Craigslist, same thing, lands.com, there's other properties that they're looking at. Again, you want to get them off. Now, to get them off that platform and then put them on onto yours, AKA your website or whatever it is, it's going to take some work. It's going to take a little bit of that, but if you make it worth their while, you make your message really targeted to the people you're thinking about, who will want that property, they're going to be more inclined because you're actually saying what they need to hear. And that means like, hey, you know what? I'm ready. This person speaks to me. They know, they get me. They understand what I'm looking for. Hey, how do I learn more about this property and this person and what's the process and all that? But if you're trying to talk to like dentists and you're reaching out to athletes, obviously it's going to be a disconnect. It's going to be very tough to get those athletes over to your page because you're speaking to them as if they're dentists. Two different random examples, but hopefully that gets the point. All right, let's see. What's this say? Good, makes sense. I'm glad you said it makes sense. Now, here the thing. Once you start to understand that, in general, you're going to say these three things to your audience. Number one, how much a property is. It's a big deal. Don't hide the price. Don't be doing that bullshit of, hey, it's only a down payment of $500. Everybody's smarter than that. They know it's not going to just be a $500 property. And if that's all if someone can afford, just $500, and they think that's the complete price, they're probably not going to be a good prospect. You want to weed those people out. You don't want people like that. In fact, I see a lot of people complain about tire kickers, but then their messaging lures tire kickers like who's that? Like it's like a siren song, right? It's like, hey, come over, talk to me. I know you don't have money or real intention to buy, but I'm telling things that make you want to click on my shit instead of the people who are serious, who will be willing to buy if the property is right for them. But you're repelling them by playing these little stupid games. All right, so don't do that shit. All right, next. So how much is it? The next thing people really want to know, you say in your own language, where is it at? Make it very easy for them to know where the property is, right? Sometimes you can have a nice address depending on the property. If it's not an infill lot or something like that, there's no address. Most times it won't be an address. You can say the nearest road. You can give GPS coordinates. You can put a Google's map link if you already have a pin right there. You can say, hey, it's 2 miles away from this major landmark or this gas station or whatever it is, right? So you're letting people know where it is. The third thing they want to know is, what can I do with this property? Let them know how it's zoned in your own words. Let them know what's available. Let them know if they're going to build a house, how to, what they can do to actually get the power, the water, electricity, I guess that's power, sewer, all of that. Let them know that in your own words. Now, here's the thing. In most places, you're not going to have a lot of room to write. So if you handle how much, where is it, and what can I do with it, you're going to be good. Finally, put in, is this a good deal? You might want to put like, hey, normally price in property in this area sells for $10,000. I'm selling mine for 7 or 9 or 8 or whatever it is, right? That's a good deal. That's a good deal. So how much? Where is it? What can I do with it? Is this a good deal? If it's not a good deal, if it's just a standard retail price, then you don't have to include that part. But you can put it in other ways about what they can do with it. Now, no matter what you're saying, you're going to have to talk to them the way they want to be spoken to. That's why I asked you those questions up front. So think of it this way. If I'm going to talk to people who are avid outdoorsmen, they love hunting, they love fishing, they love hiking, they love all those things. I'm not going to just say, hey, vacant land lot, $10,000, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to talk about the local hiking in the area. Even if you can't hike near the property, they may be like 10 miles away from a hiking trail or something like that, or they can hunt or they can fish. I'm going to actually weave in story elements to help them understand how they will be able to do the things that they like with this property. I'm going to speak in a way that's going to resonate with them and not just such plain language. Now, as I said, some places you don't get a lot of space to write, so you can't do all that there. That's why you need your website. That's why you need your own platform. You have the space, the time to go ahead and lay everything out so they can actually get engrossed with your words, have all their like regular questions answered, and then a way to like do a call to action, which is basically give you a call or a text or an email or something, right? It's harder to do that on certain platforms. I'm not gonna say it's harder. Well, the weaving the story parts in and making the land more enticing is hard to do on other platforms, but on your own, you can do that. Now, when you're on other platforms, you keep it simple, just answer those 4 questions and make it real easy to get a hold of you. Phone number, hey, call or text me at this number. You can email me as well. I get back to you within a couple of hours, right? People hear that, they're like more inclined to talk, and there it is. Now, where do you say these messages? What about these other platforms? Well, I'm glad you asked. So first place we'll talk about is cold traffic. Basically, you're reaching out to new people, and then I'll talk about how to get better and better traffic. So cold traffic, these are my favorite places. You can write these down if you want. Number 1 is Zillow. Zillow's been good, even though it's not as good lately, especially compared to last year, but it's still good. Get a lot of leads. And excuse me, the beautiful thing about Zillow is you get analytics. So you know how many people are clicking your ads, you know how many people are saving it, you know how many people view it per day. So this can tell you, hey, is your pricing good enough? Is what you're saying good enough? Hell, you might, well, most likely it's going to be price, but you may actually wonder, why aren't people actually calling me? Something else might be going on, because you're getting like, I'm getting a ton of interest, but I'm not getting, my phone's not ringing. Now that can help you understand that. Land.com also gives you some analytics, but they only give you more analytics of people who actually are actual leads. I don't think they actually show you just the people who actually clicked on it and actually looked at your stuff or not. So I'll have to check that. But other places, you have no clue. You really don't know how many people looked at your stuff. If you put something up on Facebook, for example, if they get a bunch of likes, that might give you an idea. It'll give you impressions, but you don't know if they're actually scrolling through or sitting there and reading it. All right, so Zillow, land.com is really good. It's a paid platform, high quality leads. It's worth the price, in my opinion, especially if you're not running your own paid ads. Next thing you can do is Facebook buy and sell groups. Join the buy and sell groups where the land is located, and put it there, as well as Facebook Marketplace. A lot of times they work pretty similar, where if you're in some buy and sell groups, you make a Facebook Marketplace ad. As you're posting it, it'll ask you, do you want to put this ad in different buy and sell groups? And you can click the ones that you're members of. Now you have to start adding those Facebook buy and sell groups early, because sometimes you have to be pre-approved, and not everybody's always like ready to approve you right away. So you got to be ready, for that, waiting process as you apply, and then they let you in. All right. There's Craigslist, depending on the area, is hit or miss for me. In Florida, it hits well. In Texas, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but you always want to be there. And then you have regular paid traffic, which I don't recommend for anybody who's brand new to this. So far, so good. All right, got a couple more minutes. So here's the thing. How the places I just told you for cold traffic, and before I get into the warmer traffic, I'm gonna let you know that Zillow and frankly, and Craigslist, they don't lend themselves to a lot of flowery language. Get to the point. How much? Where is it? What can I do with it? Is it a good deal? That's what most people on Craigslist care about. Again, that's why you want to get them off of there and go to your own platform, so they can actually understand more about the property, right? You want to get them out of just like price consciousness and like desirability. All right. Even places you don't think is desirable can be to the right person if you speak to them the right way. Other places like Facebook, you have to do a little bit more selling on Facebook. Why? Well, people don't come to Facebook to buy property. They go to Zillow to buy property. They go to Craigslist to buy property. They go to Landwise to buy property, but they don't go to Facebook to buy property. They go to Facebook to fart around with their friends, give useless opinions, and just see what's going on. Look at funny videos or whatever. So you got to actually sell to them a little bit more to get them out of that scroll, to stop their scroll, make them check out what you have to offer, and then actually click on your link or your button or whatever it is to take you to a phone call, or take them to a phone call or to your website or whatever it is. All right. So Zillow and Craigslist, and I guess sometimes landwise.com, they don't want the flowery language. Save that for your website. Facebook, you got to put a little storytelling elements. You got to really entice them to talk there. I think that's good for now, especially when we're out of time. Next. All right. So that's cold traffic. All right. But let's say you don't want to deal with cold traffic. You want something more concrete. Well, you have neighbor letters and you have cash buyers lists. So the neighbor letters is exactly what it sounds like. You are sending actual communication. It could be a text, it could be a phone call, it could be a letter to a neighbor to say, hey, I have property in the area that I know you like because you own property there. Do you want it? You don't say it necessarily like that. Like if there's someone that's close to the property, like let's say we share a border, I will show them an actual picture like, hey, here's your property, here's my property. Think about how you can expand your property by a quick and easy purchase from me, right? And I show them that visual is very powerful. If the property doesn't share a border, I'll just send them some kind of communications like, hey, I got property in the area. I'm looking to sell it, at this price. If you're interested, give me a call. You can do that with the text, you can do that with the phone call, you can do that with the postcard. You don't got to send a whole letter. All right. Warm. Cash buyers list. There's people out there that will give you a list of people who buy cash for property. They could be other investors. They could be other land flippers. They could be all types of other things, or it can just be individuals who like real estate because they really feel it's worth a lot, because it is, and they have the means to buy. So you can actually get a list of those people. In the same way with neighbor letters, you communicate with these folks. Hey, I got a property here. It's this much. You ready to rock and roll? And you make a deal. So that's pretty good there. And that's the next warmest lead. Now, the best leads is going to be people who've purchased from you already, people you've done business with, or those who tried to buy from you and maybe they dragged their feet a little bit. So they didn't move in time. They're like, yeah, I'm going to check out the property. And then they never do. And then you sell to somebody else. Now, to get them hot, you got to communicate with them like, hey, just letting you know that property's been sold. Sorry. Well, I'm going to have another one in the area pretty soon. So if you're interested still in that area in a property, you got to let me know, because as you see, this is a desirable area. That's going to get them acting right and be like, oh shit, you know what? I better be ready because I already missed out. And that FOMO is real. Believe me, it is real. So going back to that, right? Neighbor letters, cash buyers list, and then so you have cold traffic from the regular places. You have neighbor letters and cash buyers list, next warmest, and the warmest people you bought that's purchased from you before, and those who tried to purchase from you before. All right. Now, all right, look, I'm out of time. Shit. So check it out. I think I gave you guys a lot of information in such a short amount of time anyway. But the last thing I'll leave you with is this. Everybody who communicates with you are not going to be in the same part of the buyer's journey. So this is a big thing I really talk about with my group, and how to get people from tire kicker to like, take my money, right? So you got to meet them where they are. And depending on where they are in that buyer's journey, meaning, are they really ready to buy right now? Or they kind of just like the idea of land and they're not really sure about it, and they're doing a bunch of research, right? If they like if they're ready to buy now, then you're going to treat them and communicate with them a different way than those who are just kind of interested in the area in general, versus those who are just interested in land and just, I think I want to own some land, but I'm not sure. They're at different places in that journey, and you have to nurture those leads accordingly. And the whole time, follow up. So the goal is to get them from one spot to the next, to the next, to the next, to like, I'm ready to buy. And that first spot is the interest is low, a little bit higher, the interest is high, I'm ready. That is your job, right? It's one thing to actually get people to communicate with you. But a lot of people drop the ball when they don't know how to communicate back, when they don't follow through, when they don't follow up. And they're wondering why, shit, I had this property for 6 months. Nobody wants it. Maybe I'll wholesale to another investor. Because normally when people wholesale to another investor, unless they're making fat margins, they're doing it because they're giving up and they don't know what to do. I've seen it time and time again. All right. Now, the techniques I just shared with you, this has been working for me from little properties I'm selling for $2,000 to properties I sold for $50,000. It doesn't change. It does not change. Obviously, I'll put more effort into something I'm gonna sell for, a smaller buyer pool. So I got to put more effort out there. But if I can sell a property for $50,000 in 90 days or 91 days, and I can sell a property worth $10,000 in 5, I kind of showing you that, yeah, this shit works, right? But that's all I got. I'm out of time. I do appreciate you guys listening. I got to get back to my group because I'm, as I said, I'm in the middle of adding more information. I don't want to say more information, I'm clarifying some things. I'm making things easier, more templates for the people who invest with me. But hopefully this gave you a good understanding of what you need to do to help you sell your property much faster. If you're having trouble selling your property and you want to know more about what I'm preparing for the people who invest in me, give me a call. Or send me a DM, say something in the comments. I'll reach out to you and we can talk. But other than that, it's Coach Vic. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this. I had fun talking about it. And I'm always learning something new, something more I can add to it, something more I can enhance it with. So yeah, that's it. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Tomorrow I'm turning 40. Give me a gift. All right. Peace out.